Keri Hilson's back in the news. Look at this.
That wig.
Miss Keri, baby, is speaking out again about the remix that has haunted her career. Do you guys remember the Turning Me On remix?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Back in 2009, Hilson's Turning Me On remix featured lyrics that fans believed were directly aimed at Beyoncé, and it cost her drastically. Got the old Chrisette Michele treatment. For years, Keri stayed quiet, but now she's making it clear, I never wanted to do it, and I didn't write those lyrics.
Because that's a song that I actually didn't write. Those are not my words. I was on tour. Polo wanted me to do a remix to Turning Me On.
Mm-hmm.
He had produced the record, and I wasn't, because I was on tour with Lil Wayne, I wasn't able to like lay anything down. He had another writer in our camp at the time. He had her write this, so he played it for me like this is the remix, because automatically I'm like, that's I'm not saying that. That was my position. And that,
but you knew it was shade when you heard it.
Yeah. You could, but I didn't know really who it was about, but I mean, one could guess. And I began writing my own. That's what I did with my time there. But I want to be careful with the word I use. It was quite forceful. You know what I mean?
In an executive artist way?
Yeah, in an executive artist way only. It leaked like days after I did it, but he promised me that wouldn't happen, so it leaked. And that was that. And I protected him. I protected the girl that wrote it, who went on to become famous. I protected everyone in the story, so I had to eat that. And I am still eating it to this day, because I'm getting asked about that 15, however many years, 16, 17 years later. It's like I've worn the scarlet letter, really.
Keri says she was pressured by her team and told that her album wouldn't drop unless she recorded the verse. That pressure she claims came from big names behind the scenes like Polo the Don. But now the drama has a new layer. Enter Ester Dean. The hit songwriter publicly admitted on Instagram that she co-wrote the verse, called it childish, and even issued an apology. But Keri wasn't having it. This is what Keri Hilson had to say. She clapped back, saying that she didn't co-write it. She only wrote 3 lines. She called it a publicity stunt and said that, she made it clear that she fought against recording the diss in the first place. Telling Ester that you chose to stay quiet for 16 years, but coming out only now when you felt a portion of the heat that I've gotten all this time. Ester Dean, for her part, then wrote an open letter to Keri Hilson explaining how she wrote for Keri's first 2 albums and didn't start writing for Beyoncé until much later. She also claimed that she didn't have the platform Keri had to take credit for writing the song at the time, but she acknowledged how bad things went for her. Hilson says that she and Beyoncé have met, but have never talked about the diss in that moment. She still wonders what Beyoncé was told and if she ever heard the real story. So my question to you guys is, should Beyoncé sit down with Keri Hilson after all these years, or is too little too late, silence the higher ground at this point? What do you guys think?
Jason, I will say, I think you're one of the best journalists that I know. You really are. Like, I really respect you as a journalist, but that was the stupidest question I've ever heard you ask. Ever.
Why?
Did Beyonce sit down with Keri Hilson?
That's not a valid question.
You got to stay off the weed.
Well, Beyonce writes happy birthday to random people. I feel like she's in the giving era of her life. And
you
why
want me
not?
to sit down with Keri Hilson?
When last time Beyonce sat down
this?
with anybody?
Oh, you lost it.
Like literally,
Is it unreasonable for me to ask that, Bill?
Yes.
Beyonce was on the cover of Vogue magazine and did not sit down with them people. You think she about to sit down with Keri Hilson and discuss Ester Dean? Jason, we're moving, okay? That's what we're going to do is move.
But can I say this though? I will say, when I was listening to Keri do that interview, I felt bad. Like,
yes,
we tore that girl up. Them
Ty, Beyonce's been
Actually, this is
silent
my
about
first time
this.
learning that her last name is not Hilson. I didn't even
There's
know.
no T. There's no T there.
Yeah, I've been saying that T for 20 years.
I mean, I'm not saying it's on Beyonce to necessarily reach out to Keri, but is Beyonce's silence not helping the situation?
No,
Was she silent 16 years ago?
Well, she was silent publicly 16 years ago, but behind the scenes, she shut it down. I do think Beyonce should.
That's what I'm saying, right?
She should tell people like work with Keri Hilson again. It's okay to work with her. She could do that because I know back then they shut everything down.
I think she would do that, but I mean, listen to these people. She was kind of forced to put this verse out,
right?
Maybe it wasn't even Beyonce that shut her career down. Maybe it was these people.
Well, Polo the Don, like you're not shutting him down now. Like it's not gonna happen. Esther Dean Dean's probably in the same bargain bin as Keri Hilson at this point. So like it really.
But Esther Dean worked for Rock Nation for a few. She has a lot of hits. She's the
CEO of
a lot of hits. She had a nice run there, but
yeah, but ain't that something though? Like you wrote this, you did this. You see Keri Hilson's getting whacked. She can't even open up a card at Wells Fargo, and she's getting whacked left and right. And you sitting up there at Rock Nation, I would beat snot out of Esther.
And the fact that Esther Dean was working with Beyonce after you wrote the verse, and I'm getting trashed for it. And you think I'm going to be quiet? I would have never been quiet even back then. She lost her mind.
She was protecting her, and she didn't come out and say that it was Esther Dean on the Breakfast Club interview either. So
no, she didn't. Esther Dean jumped in the comments on Shade Room and said it was me.
Yeah. But we all knew it was Esther Dean. I mean, as soon as she said it, we knew it was her. This
dog a holla.
Who went on to become very fans. I was like, oh,
there were three people in Polo the Don's camp: Keri Hilson, Esther Dean, and Polo the Don. That was it. Like, right, who else would it have been?
So the process of elimination.
100%. All right, so Beyonce owes Esther Dean nothing, and Keri Hilson.
Beyonce owes Esther Dean, and that's what. But she
she owes Keri Hilson nothing.
Keri Hilson owes her that.
You sitting in my face after you know you did that, and you made me destroy this girl. Okay,
we're assuming Beyonce had anything to do with the
you'll never work in this town again.
And true, that was weird. Beyonce said you will never work in his town again. Now, not only will you not work here, you won't perform at the BET Awards, you won't get the MTV Awards, you can't even show up at the Source Awards. You're done.
That's bad. We wish Keri Hilson the absolute best, and we hope.
I hope they revive her career. She was nice. She was a good one.
Pretty girl rock.